Hello there, and welcome back to Sunlust. However, I'm not alone. Today I have someone with me.
Hey everyone, it's me, Kinetic, back again for another dual commentary with Jacek, and today we're doing commentary over UVMax demo Map27, which is one of my favorites in Sunlust.
The way I start out this map is by getting the rocket launcher and then clearing out this area, which means that I have to fight these barons with the rocket launcher. I try to take down one on this side, and one from this side. This allows me to get past, and then kill them with the SSG.
In the IL route, this SSG isn't used at all. I'm not sure if any SSG is used at all. But for a casual max, it's definitely smart to conserve your rocket and cell ammo by using the SSG on some less threatening enemies like these barons after you kill the first two.
Since that baron is still infighting, I chose to ignore it. However, I'm about to make a mistake. Poor routing is going to waste a lot of my time. Or just 4 attempts worth, because it took 4 attempts to do this map. In this area, there's a megasphere right there, which I should have taken, but I do not. And this is the hardest fight of the map, so it does matter, because my 3 deaths were to this fight. You just sort of want to circle around and shoot when you can. That way you can minimize splash damage and just kill everything slowly.
An interesting thing that I found with this route, well, I thought it was smart that you did the hardest section relatively close to the start. That's always smart routing for consistency and minimizing grind time and frustration when running a map like this. And I also thought your strategy of just circling the Hell Knights with the rocket launcher is different from what you typically see in max runs, where somebody hides in one of the alcoves on the wall and camps.
For this Revenant section, I try to stay in the corner, but when I get pushed out of it because there's a lot of Revenants, I like to circle around and then get the plasma gun to clear up anything remaining.
This is definitely one of the easier fights in the map. The Horde of Revenants can look threatening at first, but it's definitely a lot easier than the Hell Knight setup that you just encountered in the demo.
Next, you can hit that switch, which lowers this lift, which I failed to get. But not the second time. We'll come back to that later, but for now we're going back to where we started things from. I'm gonna kill this baron that was infighting before, and then take the platforming.
I have to say that the palette they used to play with this demo is one of my favorite palettes I've seen you use. The map looks great with this sort of red, pink, salmon-y type of color.
It looks great with pretty much any color.
Ah, yeah, of course.
It's just a very nice looking map.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best looking maps on Sunlust. Not only does it look good, but it's maybe my single favorite music track in Sunlust, so there's a lot of reasons it's my favorite, including fights like these.
Do you know what this track is from?
I think it's from Final Fantasy Tactics, I want to say. Was I wrong? It's definitely one of the Final Fantasies.
It's not something I can confirm. But for this area, I try to circle around and get all the ammo, but that's quite unnecessary, so probably shouldn't bother. And then I like to hide behind this Arachnotron, and when the door opens, it's time to move back a bit, so I can get to cover.
Most runners for this map, in whether it's D2All or IL, everybody does the strategy of some semi-cheesing the fight, just hiding behind the Mastermind, because it's so big and bulky, it's sponsor blocked in. Once you get behind them, you're pretty much safe. It's a lot easier to do that than dealing with a fight. Probably how it's intended, just stick it out in the open area there.
Well, once all of these guys die, it will be time to just kill this spider. And now, I'm going to hit the switch that was behind it. There are two ways that you can do this coming fight for the BFG, but the way I chose was to just wait for them to lower it and fire at the Archviles. The other way I did it in the past, which I chose not to do this time, was to stay back and alert all the Revenants because they're all ambush monsters, so they'll only attack if they see you. And doing that will bring all the Revenants forward, so you can deal with the Archviles separately, as long as you keep in line properly.
Your route for this fight also helped. Doing that sort of claustrophobic Hell Knight section in the square area near the start of the map, I think it allowed you to come into this area with more rockets and deal with the vials better that way.
That may be the case. Here's unironically the hardest part of the map, at least in practice. And you can actually just miss that spider sometimes, so be prepared for that.
I've never seen it happen myself personally, so it's interesting to hear.
It's happened to me once, and once is enough. I think it happened to me in my old UVMax demo of this map, back like 3 years ago as well. However, it's a good idea to get some cells because you're about to fight a Cyber Demon and two Archviles. You can just two-shot this guy, and luckily the other one decided that it prefers to kill chain gunners than me, which, valid. I'm probably a bit deadlier than they are at the moment.
Yeah, this encounter isn't too difficult if you had done the fight with the Mastermind in sort of that basement area. With the BFG, you just have to take out that vial that's around the corner just to gain cover. And after that, it's fairly easy. And now here's some sort of random lustles that they just exist on this map.
How do you do this fight if you take it first?
I don't know, it's probably a lot more difficult if you just have rockets and plasma. I've not tried that, but I'm sure it's not the most difficult thing in the world. It would just be a little bit harder route.
Probably. But next up is the other hardest fight of the map, and in my opinion the best fight of the map.
Yeah, it's probably the coolest looking set piece in the map that you fight in. The 242 sectors, and the fact that you use crushers like this is so interesting, because the crushers themselves aren't that threatening, but they're mainly sort of used to buffer or the damage output that the revs can produce. So definitely a memorable set piece and quite difficult too.
My strategy is to just alternate going back and forth to kill the revs, using the BFG and plasma. And when barons get in the way, they must die too. I nearly completely run out of cells before getting a bit lucky and surviving, but now you just can rocket down all the barons. But pay attention to the ones on the side because they're the ones that get you.
I think it was a good plan to just clear out the revenants immediately. Obviously you didn't use cells the most efficiently in terms of damage output, but eliminating them as threats was the best idea for survival. And once you got that foothold on the one side, where you can hide in the crusher where the revs were, I think it becomes a lot easier to beat the fight.
In this way of doing things, you have to be a bit careful about rockets because all those rockets that I just picked up are unavailable during the fight. And we're about to go to the finale.
Yeah, the finale is an interesting area. It's a bit of awkward movement and a lot of area denial. And it's also the third square arena of the map, which I guess I'll elaborate on a little bit later.
It's interesting that there's 3 square fights in this map and they all play quite differently.
Yeah, I guess I won't elaborate on it later since that's pretty much all I had to say, but they're all good fights despite a basic sort of shape for the room, which I think speaks volumes to what you can do with such basic room or set piece properties in a map.
In this fight, the realest threats are really just the cyber demons. As long as you can not get zapped by the vials, which you can usually accomplish that by zapping them with the BFG, the cyber demons will be your greatest threat.
Yeah, and the strategy you did this for this fight, pretty much everybody did the same thing. You just draw the enemies towards the center after you hit the switch, and eventually just run into a cubby and clear the vial to gain a foothold. Oh, you almost died at the end of this demo here, but there's a Mega Sphere to recover. As I was saying, the strategy is pretty standard here, but I think we're about to see some of that awkward movement that I mentioned when we first entered the arena. J6 having a hard time trying to pull the cyber over to take care of it.
They like getting caught on the pillars, but it's decided to finally come into a position where it can die. And since it's dead, the only thing left to do is kill the remaining vials.
Yep, after the cyber's dead, these area denial vials are exactly that. They're for area denial, not much threatening beyond that, so pretty easy to take care of. Shooting fish in a barrel.
And that is the map. Emerald Spire.
Yeah, Emerald Spire, fantastic map. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned it's one of my favorite in Sunlust. The sort of the synergy between the music and the sort of surreal and serene ravine theme and aesthetic going on. The shading is beautiful. Obviously, in the map's normal color green, it still looks beautiful. You got like some archways too, just great geometry, great architecture, great shading. And it has those 3 square arenas that, it's such simple ideas for rooms, but they're really fun. So I think the map squeezes a lot out of a little, and it's just one of the best glue maps I've ever played. Very dramatic, despite being, not one of the big slaughter type of maps in Sunlust, but a very memorable glue map.
I do agree with basically all of those points. However, the video is almost over, so if you've made it this far, you may as well subscribe, because we are at 348 subscribers, may as well make it 350. And you could be 350, maybe.
Absolutely. Why not?
But that is the end of this video. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Have a good one, y'all.